I've come to a kind of realization lately that self-esteem and self-worth have so much more to do with how we treat ourselves in relationships than I originally believed. So today I just kind of want to talk about that, and I kind of want to talk about this idea of losing yourself in a romantic pursuit. You fill your life with all these ideas of them and thoughts of them and possibilities with them, only to realize that when you aren't watering the plant that is yourself, you're not nurturing yourself, how are you supposed to be able to give any kind of love at all that doesn't come from a place of trying to prove yourself, trying to prove your worth to this other person? How can you give something you don't even know that you truly have? Hi, welcome back to my channel. It has been a full month since I have recorded and posted a video, and I usually film and post a video once a week. I have had some changes in my life. I've had some new incredible experiences that I'm really grateful for, and so in the midst of all of that, I've had quite a few thoughts come up in my head. And I feel like I've changed a lot over this last month, and I kind of want to discuss that with you. I think this is going to be the perfect video for you if you are someone who is an overthinker, if you are someone who believes that your purpose on this planet is to love, is to provide love, is to be loved. And this video is also for people who are always worried if they're too much. And I'm here to tell you that you're speaking directly to the source of all of the most wild anxiety and overthinking you could ever possibly imagine. So, let's talk about it. Everyone tries to explain that you should decenter any kind of external validation, whether that's from a male or from a female or from any partner that you're with. Do not rely on external validation for how you feel about yourself, because it's never guaranteed. It's never permanent. Unfortunately, it's not consistent either. So allowing your entire identity, your purpose, your feelings about things to be centered on something that isn't consistent, it kind of becomes, in my mind, a relationship like drugs. You know, you get that validation, you get that hit, and it just truly makes you feel like you're on top of the world, and you don't know how you've ever gone without it, and you don't know how you lived in the world without it, and so you're kind of seeing this world through this whole different lens than what you've ever experienced before. And you feel special, you feel attractive. You may doubt the honesty in their words sometimes, or a lot of times, but eventually you come around to accepting this compliment and thinking to yourself, wow, this person is validating everything I've ever wanted to be perceived as, or they really see me, and that makes me feel good about myself, and that makes me feel like the work I'm doing for myself is right. But, you know, as you get used to people, those things can kind of fade. You know, the words, they just assume you know it, instead of, reminding you of it, even if you might want that. So then you start to question, am I doing something wrong? What changed that they don't want to express this certain thing as much as before? And then you start creating scenarios in your head that have never even happened, that are dark and scary and sad and are out of character for this person. And so your brain kind of becomes this playground for all your insecurities. You kind of give your thoughts and your anxieties and your insecurities and your fears permission to run around and do as they please, and kind of run the way your brain works. So then next time you do get that hit of validation, it feels even better. And the more you get it, the harder it is to go without it. And I think words are the purest form of human love, and I think that's why we value them so much, especially in a world that is full of so much dishonesty and so much fabrication. When someone truly honestly tells you how they feel about you, it is literally I would describe it as like a sensational warming feeling in your chest to know that how you're acting or what you're doing or what you're saying is making an impact. And not only an impact, but the impact that you want to other people, to give other people. And I think when you do enter something, romantic, serious or not, which that's a whole other conversation, is it ever really not serious? I think that is the best time to go back in to yourself and re-examine everything that you think you know, your true confidence, your dreams, your patience, your expectations. Re-examine how you truly feel about yourself, because everything you think you know about yourself is going to be tested in ways that I cannot even sit here and explain to you. There are things and behaviors and things that happen and change in relationships that never come out in any other kind of relationship, because a romantic relationship is just so different than any other kind of connection that we have with another being. And deep down, we all truly yearn for a serious, genuine connection where that person, we feel like that person sees us for who we are, recognizes that, and praises that. So you have to prioritize yourself. That's just the simple truth. And even though it's hard, it can be really hard, because, this is so great, what's going on with this person. It feels so great, and I love feeling this, and I deserve to feel this, and I want to keep feeling it, and I want to allow myself to bask in the glory of being finally recognized, or whatever, lusted over, loved, whatever it might be. But then it becomes a point where that's all you think about, and I think that's where things start to kind of get dark and scary. And I think when you really, I'm not saying your partner shouldn't be a priority in your life. Of course they should. But especially if you're in the early stages of your relationship, that person should not be the end-all be-all. You should still be hanging out with your friends. You should still be going to the gym. You should still be focusing on your career and your schoolwork or whatever it may be, doing the things that you would do if they weren't involved in your life. Something that I like to ask myself is, if this person wasn't involved in my life, what would I be doing right now? Would I be scrolling Instagram for no reason? Would I be reading a book? Yeah, probably. Would I be going for a walk? Definitely. Would I be gardening? Would I be at my family's house spending time with them? Absolutely. And, it's definitely something I think we need to make more of. I think when you enter a relationship, it shouldn't be about prioritizing yourself less. I think if anything, it should be healing and prioritizing yourself more to ensure that you're not only showing up as a good partner for the other person in the relationship, but also that you're showing up and being a good partner to yourself. Because if you're not being a good partner to yourself and you're not treating yourself positively, how are you supposed to know how to treat the other person properly? And I'm not the kind of person who believes that, you have to love yourself before you love others. I don't think that's true. There have been times in my life where I've loved people with everything that I had and despised myself. But I do think how you feel about yourself will go towards, or is a testament to how long that connection or relationship will last. How much you love yourself will show how you deal with conflict and how you get over things, how you cope with negative things that you've been through, how to answer difficult questions, because life is hard and you're going to go through things and you're not going to know the timing of it and it's not going to make sense and you're going to question, is this worth it? Do I keep fighting for this? So I think you need to know yourself, know your triggers, know what makes you happy, what makes you sad, how you like to be loved, how you show up in the world, hobbies that you have. If you're worried about what somebody is thinking of you all hours of the day, you do not have enough hobbies and you do not have enough going on in your life. There is always something else you could be doing than sitting and daydreaming. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't daydream, okay? I'm not saying that. absolutely allow yourself to bask in these beautiful feelings of this connection, because love and connection and friendships and relationships and all that stuff can be so rare. You want to hold on to it. You know what I mean? Like, you just want to stay in that moment in time forever, sometimes it feels like. But there was so much of you before this person. There was so much of your identity before this person. And there's going to be so much identity during this person, and there will be so much identity after this person if it doesn't work out for whatever reason. But you are special. You have always been special, and I just am of the opinion that you shouldn't take a back seat to anything else in your life just because this other person is here now. I believe that you should conduct yourself as you always would, if not more care, love, and attention to you, because then you kind of become this sad machine of, I cannot start my day without hearing these words from this person. And what kind of life is that? Do you really want to live your life waiting and begging for validation from a source that is concerned about their own lives? Or do you want to be able to give that validation for yourself and fuel yourself to go and live your life even more full and better every day? Better than the last day, the day before that. To become dependent on someone for your moods and your feelings is to self-sabotage, honestly. Because when you do become dependent on that person, it's not fair to the other person either. It's not fair for you to expect them to provide all the positive feelings in your life from now on. So schedule lunch with your friends. Go on that hike and go alone. Listen to music, take yourself for a car ride, go to the store, volunteer at shelters, visit family that you wouldn't usually visit, because our time with them is also limited. It may feel like forever, especially if they're family that you see regularly, but that's just simply not the case. Read that book, listen to a podcast, go and exercise, lift weights, meal prep, bake. Just go and do things, and don't be afraid to do them alone. Because you are the only one you're going to be with for your entire life. Your entire life, you have to deal with you. So when you think about your mind and the way that you're treating yourself, you want it to be a good place to live. It's that simple. Are you someone that you would want to spend time with if you weren't in your own head? I try to treat myself like my best friend, and I really do everything I can to prioritize myself, even though I may not be good at it all the time. Trust me, as a hopeless romantic, I am certainly victim to sitting and daydreaming and being sad just for the purpose of being sad. But I'm really trying to move away from that, and I think that's what I wanted to make this video for, because I want you to understand, whoever is watching this, that there are people out there that feel exactly the same way as you. Like, I know you're probably thinking, oh, this girl says she feels this way, but, she probably doesn't feel it nearly as deep as I do. Like, I feel like I'm crazy sometimes. I feel that way too, like the obsession and the limerence and just the overthinking and worrying about, am I doing this right? Am I ruining this for myself? Why can't I just let myself be happy? Why do I have to mastermind every single interaction and conversation? It's because, as we've talked about in many other videos, your brain is a supercomputer that is trying to prepare you for every single outcome, to every situation you interact with every single day, to prepare you, because it has this belief that if you're prepared, it'll hurt less or it won't hurt at all. This is simply not the case. I can promise you, while there is a second of relief when things do turn out the way that my brain has been trying to convince me it's going to turn out the whole time based on insecurity or fear or anxiety, there is a second of, damn, I knew I was right. After that, it's pretty miserable, and I will say it's just not worth it. It's not worth it for that 1 second of, oh wow, yeah, I was right about this. If anything, I don't want my insecurities to be right. I don't want my overthinking to be right. Why would I find relief in that? Why should I believe in this? If anything, I want to remove myself from those fears and those insecurities and make them seem to me in my head less and less possible every time they come up. Every time you get scared of like the person possibly cheating on you. I want to get to a point where even the thought of that makes me laugh because it's so ridiculous. I just can't imagine that for myself. And again, infidelity is a whole other conversation of, there's a lot more nuance to that conversation, but that's not what this video is about, so I don't really want to get into it. But assuring yourself that you're doing what you can, and honestly doing what you can, not just saying you're doing what you can, but genuinely doing what you can. You know, reading self-help books, studying different aspects of psychology in your free time, or maybe even professionally. Going to therapy and examining why you do the things that you do. Talking to people in your life and saying, how can I show up better for you? And I think there's also this concept of showing up better for people where people think that, oh, like, I'm just doing everything for them, or I'm just people pleasing, but no. Taking the time to evaluate how you're showing up and supporting people in your life is an extremely important and valuable thing to do, because not only does that help you love or care for those that you care about even better, it also helps them understand how much you do care about them and strengthens their connection with you. Sometimes people don't even know how they want to be supported, so asking, or they don't know how to ask for the way that they want to be supported, so asking them, how can I support you right now, is really an incredible way to just cut through all the BS and get to it, like, what do you need from me right now? And one of my favorite things to say to anybody that I care about when they're going through something is, what do you need from me right now? Do you want a rant? Do you want advice? Or do you want comfort? Because by asking them openly and honestly what they want, I've eliminated them having to try to figure out in their own brain how to ask me those questions. Now, not to say that it isn't important for everyone to learn how to communicate those things whether or not I ask them, but, you know, it's just nice to be considerate of both sides. So, back to what I'm trying to say mainly is, connection is beautiful, love is beautiful, romance is incredible, and I wish nothing more than for everyone in my life to experience incredibly healthy, beautiful, exciting, sizzling hot relationships with the people that they want to be with. Absolutely, of course I want that. But when you're in them, you know, once you get there, that's great. That's a milestone. You know, you get to that relationship, but the work is not done, okay? Just like with yourself, outside of a relationship, the work is never done. Never. Never. Human beings, we're a work in progress. There is no end result. Now, I don't want to intimidate you by saying that and saying like, oh, you have so much work to do, but try to enjoy your life while you're working on yourself. Looking back at the person that I was a few years ago, I honestly don't even recognize her a lot of the times, specifically in the context of how I deal with my anxiety and how I deal with other people. Sure, I'm not where I want to be yet, but I have made a lot of improvements and I'm really proud of that. And I think it has led me to a lot of the situations that I'm currently in, good or bad. And just my point is here, you need to prioritize yourself. You need to. You cannot properly love unless you are taking care of yourself. You cannot properly love. That's my point. Take care of yourself. Do not lose yourself in the bubble of love and the rose-tinted glasses of the early stages of a relationship. Because when you do lose that person, if the relationship ends or when it ends, you'll feel very lost and conflicted and dislike yourself even more, possibly, and just it will do sometimes what feels like irreparable damage to your identity. So remember, there was so much of you before this person, there is so much of you now. So spend time with yourself. You are never going to get this time back. I know we all want to doom scroll because it's so much easier than dealing with the reality of the way that the world is right now. It seems like things are just getting worse every day. So, you know, in lieu of that, we need to take care of ourselves. We need to be doing the things we want to do. There is no waiting for tomorrow. We really can't, honestly, because we don't even know what tomorrow looks like. So, you know, make that craft today. Go on that hike today. Message that relative that you've been meaning to today. There is no better time than the present. We have no guarantee of the future, and the past, it's genuinely just something that we have to learn what to take and what to leave behind, because carrying the past with you through every endeavor is incredibly stressful and incredibly painful, and I think it will taint relationships you're in right now, and kind of holding this person to standards of a person that they aren't, or expecting them to act in a way that someone else did when they aren't that person, and that's not fair to them either. So listen, I'll wrap it up here because the video is getting a little long, but hopefully this rambling made some kind of sense. I've just had a lot on my mind lately, and I wanted to share this with you, and it's been so long since I've seen you, and I'm so sorry, and I miss you guys so much. Please, engage down in the comments. I really want to hear your perspectives. Your comments, regardless of how short or long, are honestly some of my favorite part, if not my favorite part of doing this channel, is knowing that I've affected you, or that you have a story that you would like to share. It's my favorite part. Just reading through them and responding to them really helps me form who I am, and also where this channel is going as well. You gotta prioritize yourself. Take yourself out on dates too. Don't just throw everything on the back burner that you've been working towards just because someone else is around. Because I promise you, you do not have to prove to them that you are worthy of their attention. If you feel like you have to, they are not worthy of yours. You do not have to prove that you're worthy of them. Okay? Never. And you should never expect someone to do that for you. You know, be yourself, do the sweet things that you're thinking about doing. You know, still be romantic, but I promise you, do not try to prove your worth, because then it will just become a vicious cycle of you constantly feeling like that's what you need to do, and it's just raising the expectations and the goalposts higher and higher, and the person that is falling for you will then expect you to be someone that you're not. You know, it's not a performance. You don't have to, it's not a circus. You don't have to get up on stage with a new fancier costume every single night and do even more outrageous tricks just to convince this person to stay. If they don't want to stay with you for who you are and who you're also becoming, then show them the door. Show them the door, because you've done it before and you can do it again, and that just means that there's something even better coming your way. So yeah, that's all I have to say today. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I am so glad to be back, and I really enjoyed making this, and I think it's helped me process some things too, and I really hope it helps you as well. Yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We are at 241 subscribers. If we could hit 250, that would be absolutely incredible. I'm trying to hit 1,000 before the end of this year, so if you guys could help me on that goal, I would really appreciate it more than anything in this world. And I hope this video helped you, and just know there is so much love and so much light in this world, and you are a big part of it. Thanks for watching.